Hey, welcome to another video from the Outdoor Analyst. Guys, I've got a super fun one for you. Today I've got what I'm basically just going to call the face-off of the baby bushcrafters. And that's originally what I picked both of these up for, was being kind of that really small companion bushcraft knife that you're either happy to just hop out into the yard and do whatever you need to, or you can take these on a decent trip and pair it with something larger if you need to, like either a saw, larger knife, maybe an axe. But this is just a really small kind of bushcraft knife. And on paper, these look nearly identical. And when you get them in hand, the ESEE RB3 and then the Tops Fieldcraft 3.5, aka the Baby Bob, they seem incredibly similar. You know, 3 3/4 blades, 8 and almost 9 inches long, a little under that for each one. They are just, and the weight of them is really similar too. They're like 5.5 ounces, 7.5-ish when you put a sheath on them. And the price, you guessed it, 105 to 120 bucks, really depending where you buy them. Give or take a few dollars. And this is US dollars. And with inflation, let's face it, it's 2022, that could go up an insane amount by the time you actually see this video. So just kind of keep that in mind. But I really have raved on the ESEE RB3 as being probably my favorite ESEE. This thing so far has just been a really great little bushcraft knife. Now, it is very ergonomic. The handle scales, I think, are done by LT Wright. And it's just a really good bushcraft knife. It's under 4 inches. It's more like about 3.5, 3 3/4. And it's not super big. It's just truly meant for kindling, feather sticking, getting fires actually started. I really have enjoyed this knife over the year. The coating on it, this like stone wash coating they use, is really great. It's not the powder coat that the ESEE used to use, and it's very smooth. It's able to really just go through wood super well. Now, the Scandi on this is a little low. It's not a really tall Scandi, but it does wood fairly well. And I'd say they actually have a pretty hard heat treat on this for $10.95. Maybe I just got a little luckier one. It seems a little more prone to damage than average $10.95, not just because it's a Scandi, but because it's got good edge retention to it. And I mean, we're talking just a barely noticeable, but really a fan. Definitely probably my favorite ESEE. And I thought the direct competition would be Tops. This is the Baby Bob Fieldcraft. Now they have 2 different versions, in case you didn't know. One of them does not, it has the powder coating up top, so it doesn't have like the ability to scrape a fire steel, because unlike the Bob, they took off that weird Shango notch, which is lovely, but they still have the bow drill divot in there. And honestly, this knife is really great. For a second, I thought the handle was actually bigger, as in longer on this than the ESEE. And that's probably the biggest difference between these is, one, the handles are much thicker. I guess the handle scales are much thicker on the ESEE than the Tops. That's really your main difference. The length of them, when it really comes down to it, they're almost identical on handle length, but width is definitely a huge difference. So they're comfortable, super comfy for bushcraft. This is actually pretty comfortable as well, but because it's slightly thinner, because it has these really good, I always forget what these things are called. Goodness gracious, scallop notches in there. This makes me think, I instantly went to hunting knife, honestly. That was the first thing I thought. It was, ooh, I could definitely do a whitetail with this for field dressing. And that's exactly where my mind went. The thinness just makes you really want to grip it in this way. And it does have a good hammer grip. For feather sticking, it is less comfortable than the ESEE. And even the ESEE is less comfortable than some knives in its size, because it's still not the most thick or contoured handle. For carrying the knife around, I actually really like this. For carrying this one around, it's super thin and it's fairly light. Yeah, I really like this too. But I really kind of wanted to do a size comparison between these, because most people don't really know what the size difference is between this Bob. The Baby Bob is really small. And this is about the same size as a regular ESEE 3. So here's an ESEE 3, the stainless version. So there's the size difference. It's almost exactly the same. The blade is same length, handle same length, guys. I mean, these are identical, you know. just so you have an idea. Now the width is actually a little more similar to the ESEE regular. Well, I guess this is the contour handle version, so it does have a little fatter palm swell here, and it makes it a little more comfy in that way. Oh man, yeah, they did a great job with the ESEE3 and contoured scales. Let's just face it. I don't want to make this a three-way kind of a knife off, but it sort of is similar, just so you have an idea. Let's throw a couple more out here that people might know. So this is going to be the Gunny, Bark River Gunny. Great field dressing knife. Blade is just a hair bit longer. I guess I should get my hand out of the way maybe. Here we go. Just so you know, it's about that size. It's kind of about the size of a Gunny, honestly. All around, it's almost identical in length. Width, the handle's going to be much thicker on the Bark River Gunny, therefore it's a little more comfortable, and I'll honestly say just about everything that's a little more comfortable. It fits my hand very well, large to XL hands. So that's kind of an idea there. The blade thickness, oh, I forget what it is. It's a little thicker on the tops versus the ESEE. And it's actually, it's a little thicker than the Bark River too. Maybe it's, yeah, maybe about Sans Bark River. But I'd say, let's move that out of there now. Because of the higher Scandi grind, it slices through food quite a bit better than the ESEE. It still kind of, you know, definitely chunks it out once you get up to this point for veggies, but it does a pretty darn good job. Let me throw the main competition out here that's a little more expensive. Let's say just straight bushcrafting. LT Wright Jesmic C. Size-wise, fairly darn similar here. Blade's just about the same. Handle is actually a little shorter on the Jesmic, but way thicker. And this thing is incredibly comfortable. Comes to bushcrafting, the Jesmic actually just crushes both of these, but it also costs quite a bit more. And with these scales, you know why? Extra $100 essentially on there. So keep that in mind. But for bushcrafting, that's the handle you want. Big O scallops in there if you want to get down. Love this knife. Really love them all, actually. That's what I'm really gonna say is these are really all fairly fantastic. It's not like a super in-depth review. This is just, hey, if you want to pick one of these up, what are really my preferences to them? Man, it really comes down to what you're going to do the most with. And honestly, the sheaths, I think that it makes a pretty big difference too. If you're going to be doing nothing but bushcraft, I will say the ESEE RB3 actually probably beats it. If you tell me you're going to be doing a little more of everything, which this is called the Fieldcraft for a reason, I actually think they named this correctly. You told me I was going hunting, I was going to maybe do some squirrel, de-pants a squirrel, or field dress a deer. I'm going to take the tops any day of the week. I just am. It's set up for that a little better. The grind is a little better for it. It's a Scandi Vex, really, how it comes out, instead of a true Scandi on ESEE. Now, granted, they all convex a little bit, but this just leans a little more to being a little more all-rounder, whereas this is just a true bushcraft knife. And on the sheaths, I will say this Kydex is pretty great. Comes with a fire still, comes with a whistle too, but I always knock that off. Great to actually have a whistle on you, surprisingly. The older I get, the more I really like having the ability to call out when you're dehydrated. Pretty amazing. But this sheath is actually fantastic. And these spring clips, I've never had a problem with them, but what they're great at is actually flexing. Say you're driving someplace and you have these in the car. This is so much easier just to move up and move the knife out of the way. And it really, really helps. It's like a baby drop loop if you know why you use one of those. It is really comfortable. You can carry it a lot of different ways without having any issues. I actually don't mind the leather sheath that comes with the ESEE. It's pretty decent, but yeah, if you're backpacking, this will retain water. If it rains, that is kind of a downfall of leather, retains water. And the Kydex, this is a good Kydex. It actually has a good drain hole on there. Retention's just fine. It does shake a little bit, so have that be known. And you have a fire steel that comes with this. This is actually a really solid fire steel that Tops gives. I gotta say, that's a nice touch for the same price. And to be honest, if you're doing more outdoor work, let's even put like the ESEE3 sheath out here. It's plastic, it's not Kydex. Has a little spring clip on it too, but it sits a lot higher on your belt. As you can see, if you're gonna compare this to it, true Kydex, just plastic, polymer plastic. That's not a big deal to me, but where it rides on your belt, the ESEE will ride way higher. The lowest ride is actually going to be the bushcraft knife here, but this is flexible with the spring clip, so you're able to kind of move it around if that's your issue. So kind of keep that in mind. What would I really buy again? Daggone, if you just told me all I'm going to do is hunt, I'm actually going to take a regular ESEE, the stainless S35VN version. If you told me I'm going to do a little more all-around camp stuff, I think the tops, I think this Fieldcraft 3.5 is actually pretty excellent. I like it for food work. I like it for doing wood stuff. It's pretty decent. It's good Scandi. Told me I'm doing nothing but woodwork, I'm gonna take the ESEE RB3. It's just a little bit better. It's a little more comfy. So I guess this has kind of been like a three-way competition, just because the sheaths are so similar between these two, and there's less rattle, I guess I don't even know if with the ESEE sheath than there is with the tops. It's pretty quiet. There's a hair bit there, but not much. A lot more with the tops. You get a fire steel with the tops knife, so it's pretty awesome. I'm not trying to give it a pass. I'm just trying to say all three of these are actually really excellent knives. For 100 to 120 bucks, you're almost at just personal preference. Now, granted, this is a stainless, so you get a lot of extra benefits with this, and it's pretty darn tough. S35VN is very tough for a stainless, so booyah. But it's also crazy, crazy thin. So not a true like beat me to death knife. And I will say, if ultimate toughness is what you're going for, the tops knife is gonna hands down beat it. It's a little thicker in the blade. It's a little less thin at the edge. It's just gonna do a better job. It's more of a tough knife. If that's like ultimately what matters to you, go with the tops. If it's not, you're just doing wood, which really doesn't matter either way, to be honest with you. Probably go with the ESEE. I don't think you're gonna baton anything tough enough to jack with the either 1095 versions of these steels. And I think they both do a good version of 1095. Tops is usually a little more differentially heat treated. I don't know if this little one is though, but so it usually means it's softer at the top than at the bottom. I don't know if they did that for this knife, but they do for a lot of their bigger knives. Anyway, great choices. If you like one of these, I have had nothing but great experiences with them. They are perfect for just throwing on the belt. You barely know they're there. You're going, it's squirrel season just started, so you know what? I'm gonna be taking the little tops with me for quite a few outings. Grabbing the shoddy and my little Fieldcraft and go deep pan some squirrels and make some decent stew at the end of the night. So anyway, there we go. That's my quick kind of versus. I don't want to put these against each other head to head because I love them both. And honestly, I'd say if you can, just get them both. They're really sweet. I have nothing against these knives. Really, really cool. I guess you do have a bigger lanyard hole if you run that route with the tops. So that's definitely a benefit. I never use them, so there's that. Anyway, I hope you found this video informative, maybe help you make your decision if you're gonna pick one of these up. Like, subscribe if you like this sort of stuff. I throw out knife videos, I do some hunting stuff, hunting cartridges, and I can't even say weapon these days on YouTube. Every time I do one of those videos, it's completely not shown to anybody whatsoever unless they directly search me and look at my videos, which is amazing. YouTube hates that whole industry so much. They hate what I do. It's kind of crazy, but it is what it is. Anyway, hope you love this. Like, subscribe, check out the website, outdoorradiolas.com. There are some affiliate links on there too. Gotta say that. If you click them, helps the channel if you buy something on Amazon on there. So appreciate it. I will catch you guys on the next one.